Hi, this is the business guy, the CEO of Asset Protection Planners and Lawyers Limited. Are IRAs protected from judgment creditors? And I don't mean buying a Rembrandt painting with your IRA, sealing it in a giant Tupperware container, putting on scuba gear, and burying it off the coast of Florida. Now, I do live in Florida, and I'd be happy to help, but I'm kind of busy making YouTube videos right now. And besides remembering where you put it, the IRS forbids buying artwork with your IRA. So whether you have a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or both, you should be aware that the IRA creditor protection varies by state. That is, there are different statutes and case law in each state and each region. There are diverse IRA judgment creditor exemptions in each state. For example, most states don't protect IRAs from divorce. In fact, we have a video on how to protect your IRA from divorce using a combination of a self-directed IRA with a special kind of trust that we create. You can go ahead and call us or fill out our free consultation form on our website if you want to speak to one of our in-house attorneys or consultants. Now, some states protect traditional IRAs, but not Roth IRAs at all. Many states don't protect amounts contributed within 4 months to 3 years before a creditor gets a judgment against you or you file for bankruptcy. Additionally, exemptions exist at the federal level that may be different than those at the state level. On top of that, there are limits to the amount one can contribute to an IRA each year. Plus, with the new laws, if you make too much money, you can't contribute to an IRA at all. Therefore, the use of an IRA may be thought of as a small part of an overall asset protection plan. And if you want to plan a solid financial foundation for yourself, our videos can play a part of that. So if you're new here, you can join the community by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell so that when more videos come out like this, you'll be up to date right away. And if you could please click the like button so YouTube promotes this video, I'd really appreciate your help. Now, as we say on many of our videos, there are ways you can protect your IRA by using a combination of a self-directed IRA, an offshore LLC, and the most powerful asset protection tool of all, an offshore asset protection trust in the Cook Islands or the Caribbean island of Nevis. See our video on those topics. Now, the great thing is we have a special provision in our offshore trusts, and I haven't heard of anybody else who has these provisions. It was drafted by a former IRA supervisor, which protects the IRA, but doesn't violate any of the IRS guidelines. It remains an IRA with all of the tax benefits. Now, keep in mind that the extent to which your IRA is protected from creditors varies state to state. Also, keep in mind that statutes relating to IRA creditor exemption laws may change from time to time. That said, here's some examples of the IRA creditor protection in a handful of states. For example, Arizona protects both traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. In addition, as in most states, the provisions don't protect IRAs from qualified domestic relations orders, which is a judgment decree or order for a retirement plan to pay child support, alimony, or marital property rights to a spouse. The exemption also doesn't include amounts contributed within 120 days before a debtor files for bankruptcy in Arizona. And there's also a provision for exemption of inherited IRAs. Now, in California, on the other hand, IRAs are exempt only to the extent necessary to provide for the support of the judgment debtor when the judgment debtor retires, as well as the support of the spouse and dependents of the judgment debtor. This takes into account all resources that are likely to be available to support the judgment debtor when the judgment debtor retires. So what this means is, if the judge thinks an individual or a married couple can support themselves through retirement in other ways, the judge may order the seizure of the IRA. So in California, it's really a seat-of-the-pants decision by the judge. Florida, on the other hand, has very strong protection for both traditional and Roth IRAs, except for qualified domestic relations orders. Florida also provides for exemption of inherited IRAs. Georgia protects traditional IRAs, but the courts can easily seize Roth IRAs. Distributions from IRAs are exempt only to the extent necessary for the support of the debtor and any dependent. Now, Hawaii protects both traditional and Roth IRAs, but they have very harsh provisions as the exemption does not apply to contributions made to a plan or arrangement within 3 years before the date of a bankruptcy or civil action is initiated against a debtor. And that's true even if you're a great hula dancer and have surfed the 100-foot wave named Jaws off the north coast of Maui. In Maine, IRAs are exempt only to the sum of $15,000 or to the extent reasonably necessary for the support of the debtor and any dependents. In New York, contributions to IRAs are not exempt from judgments that were made after a date that is 90 days before the filing of a claim from which the judgment was entered. In Ohio, neither SEP nor simple IRAs are exempt. In Pennsylvania, state IRA creditor protection exemption does not apply to amounts added to the retirement fund in excess of $15,000 or within 1 year prior to the debtor filing for bankruptcy. So that gives you a general guideline for several states, but most people want to know if their own IRA is protected in their own state. So for a detailed state-by-state analysis, I put together a table that lists how each state in the U.S. protects the IRA in detail. You can click on the link below in the description, and the link will take you to a table on our website, assetprotectionplanners.com, where we list every state, the statute that regulates IRA creditor protection, if that particular state protects traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, or both, and you can see the manner in which various states protect IRAs. IRA federal protection for bankruptcy. Just like 401k qualified plans have certain protections, the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005, which applies to bankruptcies individuals filed after October 17, 2005, offered protection to a debtor's IRA funds. The law exempted IRA funds from the bankruptcy estate. Section 408 covers Roth and traditional IRAs, and they offer exemptions for both. However, there are limitations. The exemption limitation is $1 million for all IRAs, and there are some adjustments for inflation subject to the judge's determination. Now, this limit includes a rollover from a SEP or simple IRA into a rollover IRA, which is also subject to the $1 million limit. Again, the state law can change that amount. Now, there are many other types of exemptions to protect you from lawsuits besides the IRA creditor protection in each state. For example, one of these includes the homestead exemption, and that shields some or rarely all of the equity in your home depending on the state. In addition, there are tendency by the entirety states that offer some judgment protection to married couples. Then there are the ones that expose married couples to greater risks, such as community property states. Moreover, states and territories offer wage garnishment exemptions that vary by region. We also have strategies to protect liquid assets, and I don't mean whiskey or Russian vodka, I'm talking about cash and stock, using bulletproof trusts, as well as protection for one's personal residence and investment property. So if you want help protecting your IRAs or other assets, give us a call or fill out a free consultation form on our website. Please click like, subscribe, and share the heck out of this video. Thanks for watching. This is The Business Guy.